to Your Wealthy Self with me, Regina Martinelli. This show is about money and a whole lot more. Here we focus on you being able to expand your capacity for money, success, and abundance, and inner and outer wealth, for you to have what's most important to you so that you can feel like your wealthy self. It's also about honoring your wholeness, that you are enough just as you are. You don't have to do, be, or produce anything to deserve what you desire. And what's important to you, what you desire, might be the freedom to have more success and money without guilt or shame, or maybe it's the ease in being unapologetically yourself, or more certainty in your sense of purpose or feeling daily joy or fulfillment within yourself. And two, you can create what that is, and you can do it without struggle. You can do it with ease and certainty. And we do all this through the lens of money, because money is a spiritual highlighter. It reveals how you engage with the world, how much you will allow yourself to have, how easily you allow yourself to have it, or how much struggle you subconsciously believe you think you need to suffer or struggle in order to have what you desire. All of this will show up through the lens of money, because often we don't feel worthy of the success we desire, so we'll augment our worth by creating struggle in our lives. And you hear this a lot with people who say, I am successful and I sacrificed a lot to get here, but it was worth it. Or you have to work hard for money, or you have to put in your time, no pain or no gain. None of these notions are the truth. And if you believe you have to work hard for your money, then you will have to work hard for your money. In this show, we look at revising these beliefs. You can have more of what's important to you with more ease, certainty, freedom, and fun. So today we're going to talk about how our brains work against us regarding money, how our brains get our beliefs to be true, how when you believe that you have to work hard, we have something called our reticular activating system, the RAS of our brain. And it sorts for things that we focus on. It sorts to have our beliefs be true. It sorts for evidence. It's kind of like if you've ever decided to buy a new car and you're thinking, maybe I'll get this particular, make or model. And you start going out on the road and you see all of those types of cars. All of a sudden it's like someone last night went out and, everyone in your community went out and bought one of those cars. No, those cars have been on the road. It's just now that part of your brain is searching and filtering for those particular cars. So they're starting to show up in your field all the time that, oh, look, people have bought these cars. They're running, they're being used. That's what's out there. So your reticular activating system starts to filter for things that we're focusing on, even if we're focusing on something subconsciously. And one of the things too, it provides evidence for your beliefs to be true. It will look for that. It will sort for that because our brains need our beliefs to be true. It needs to be able to predict how the world is, how people are, how things are going to go, so that it can provide survival and safety for you. This is also one of the functions and designs of your brain, is to be able to be very good at predicting things. And it does that also hand in hand with the reticular activating system. So when we hold our beliefs tightly as the truth, we miss out on experiencing more choice and freedom around creating what we want, because we're starting to filter down just to what's true versus seeing more of what's out there. But the good news is it's not your fault. And the bad news is your brain is designed to prevent change. Yes, even the change you most want in your life around money, health, relationship, and happiness. Your brain is designed not to let change it. Ever wonder why you have this great aha with podcasts, meditations, therapies, coaching, workshops, and affirmations? Yet they usually don't create a significant enough change. Or maybe you get frustrated, resigned, or resentful for having took the time, spent the money, and still are having the struggles in having what's most important to you. These approaches feel really good. They give awareness of why you do the sabotaging behavior. And you learn how and when you do it. Yet these insights or ahas don't create the sticking power that you are wanting. The problem with these practices, as lovely as they are addressing the problem in the wrong part of the brain. They're using the wrong language, and they are working against how the brain is naturally designed, which causes the brain to work against you, causes it to resist the change. Let me get into more detail here. There are several parts of your brain, and I want to chat about two specific ones. One is the cerebral cortex, which is the executive functioning brain, which is up here in the front. And it comes online in your early kind of mid-20s. And its focus is the quality of your life. We love it because this is where we dream big. This is where we envision how wonderful and grand our life can be. We do language up here, consequences, all those kind of things. The executive functions are up here in the cerebral cortex. But what's challenging about it, we have all these great insights and feelings of these ahas. And then when we conclude that we're a changed person because we felt it. It's there. And that's what I want. I want to be that changed person. Our behaviors, thoughts, and reactions will be different going forward. And they might, even for a time, have some hold to that change. But it's not permanent or deep as we'd hope for, because this is happening in the cerebral cortex. That's not where these sabotaging behaviors and beliefs are rooted. It's not where they first originated. That brings me to the second part of the brain I want to talk about, which is called the reptilian brain or the critter brain. It's located here at the base of your skull in the back of your head. And it's not just reptiles that we have this brain with. So it's called the critter brain. When it comes online, it's fully functioning while we're still in utero versus the cerebral cortex, which is when we're in our early mid-20s. So it's fully functioning and in line when you are in utero. And its only focus is our survival. It's in charge of fight, flight, freeze, and fornication. It's the part of our brain that is instinctual, and it's all about our survival. It's automatic, so we don't even have to think about it. But it's challenging because it has seniority over our cerebral cortex. It overrides those ahas and fires up our sabotaging beliefs and behaviors and patterns even after a great insight that we've had, because it doesn't like change and it's in charge of our survival. So it's not going to take the chance on something it's not sure it can survive this new change. Sure, the cerebral cortex knows that you'll survive more money, but the critter brain does not. So it will block it or send it away. This part of your brain does not do language, this reptilian part, like you would speak to your neighbor. It doesn't do that. Language comes on around 2 or 3 in your cerebral cortex, but your critter brain is already fully functioning in charge. So this is why affirmations can feel really good on the surface, but don't necessarily penetrate the deeper root of the issue. And since you've already survived this far, your critter brain doesn't want to change, because that change might put your survival at risk, and your critter brain will not take that risk. It doesn't care that you are in debt or have anxiety. It knows you can survive that because you're still alive. For example, there's something, if you were raised in a house where you got hit on the head every day by a hammer, and that could be literally or figuratively, your critter brain goes, oh, I was hit on the head by a hammer. Are we still alive? Are we still alive? Oh yeah, we're alive. Okay, good. And then you get it. Oh, are we still alive? Oh yeah, okay. And what happens is when you get old enough to leave that house and leave that situation, like, yay, I'm out of here. No more being hit on the head by a hammer. Yet your critter brain knows it can survive being hit on the head by a hammer. And it then starts to need to be hit by a hammer to know that it's alive, that it's surviving. So you're old enough, you leave the house, you go out in the world, you stay away from, those dynamics. But your critter brain starts going, are we alive? Are we alive? Are we alive? And not too long afterwards, you get away from the original hammer hitters. Your critter brain and your RAS, your reticular activating system, starts sorting for other people who would be hammer hitters. Bosses, coworkers, neighbors, roommates, partners, spouses, and it starts to bring them into your orbit so that it can have that experience of being hit on the head by a hammer, literally or figuratively, to know that it's alive. So basically, what you survived in childhood then becomes the thing that your critter brain needs to re-experience, to signal to it that you are still alive. It's quite the pickle. So your RAS sorts for what we put our attention on, both consciously and subconsciously. This is how we get our beliefs to be true, not because our beliefs are the truth, but because this part of your brain conspires on our behalf to find evidence that supports our beliefs. Good news is, again, it's all revisable. There are ways to get your critter brain to work with your cerebral cortex so that it will allow the change to happen, more options on your menu. It won't keep you to just the one that you're experiencing now and want to change. You can actually get both parts of your brain to allow you to have more of what you want with ease, where it doesn't put up roadblocks and send it away in some disappointing or surprising way. The bigger the surprises or disappointments happen when your brains are at odds with each other. Your conscious brain wants to create more abundance and ease in your life, yet your critter brain sees this as a threat to your survival because it actually hasn't had that level of ease and abundance to know that it's survivable. Hence then, the more abundance you consciously create, the more abundance your critter brain sends away or disappears. So these two brains both want you to survive. Yet the conscious brain cares about the quality of your life, and the critter brain only cares that you are not dead. You could not be dead and in devastating debt is not death, since you are not dead. So the critter brain is fine with you being in debt or overwhelm or anxiety or stress. Your conscious brain is not. It wants you to have life where you flourish and thrive, not just survive. As I said, you can get these two parts of your brain working on the same team to create what's most important to you in the ways that you want it. And this is all possible and very doable. I know because I've done it and I've seen thousands of others do it. It's not unique to any of us. It's about using how your brain is naturally designed to create the change you want, the way you want it without the struggle or upset or hardship. So let's look at how this plays out with money. Since this show is about money and a whole lot more. Growing up, I had a dad who really believed you had to work really hard for money. He'd often work 6+ days, very, very long hours, over 12 hours a day, because he were himself, so there was no set vacations or time off. And just want to note here, there isn't a right or wrong way to earn money or to create money. What I'm trying to illustrate is that this belief that you have to work hard for money is not the only option. There are other ways to approach creating money other than working hard, because working hard has a price on your well-being that most people don't factor in. Now, when someone has a belief that you have to work hard for money, if someone they love, like a child, then gets money easily without much work, this can be very upsetting and offensive to those who believe you have to work hard. I saw this in my childhood. Making money easily comes with the complication of love. So my dad wanted, to love me, his child, and for me to do well. That's not a question. And there is me wanting to be loved and feel safety and belonging to my family, who works hard. Yet I had a different experience and belief around money. In this scenario, it feels as if I had to choose between being a part of my family whose beliefs don't fit mine, or being more aligned with the truth of who I am and losing my belonging to my family. It was like an either or situation. Have money easily, but not have family belonging, or have family belonging and deny my beliefs about myself, a part of me. Here's the secret. It is not either or decision. It's not either or. Yet this is what plays out in our system and our bodies, especially around money. So this is when I would get large sums of money, easily, subconsciously, I would disappear the money quickly to prove my loyalty to my family. And it would go away because I didn't earn it the hard way. I didn't work hard enough for it to be deserving, for me to be deserving of it. Now, having revised my beliefs that it's not an either or choice, my system can actually be okay with the money I want in the ways that I want to create it and still belong to my family of origin. And this sounds really easy to just say, yet that is the conscious brain. That is where the insights, language, and visions of how lovely our life can be is housed. The place where this revision needs to happen is in the subconscious brain. This is the part of the brain that doesn't do language as we know it, and it doesn't like change. So this, again, can cause a pickle. Now, knowing these two different parts of your brain, how they work, let's look at your relationship to money to see how it relates for you. There are many ways you can experience money. Some people make, then lose money, causing that kind of roller coaster effect. Others experience surviving the stress of debt or not being able to break through the glass ceiling or feeling there's never enough. There's like constant scarcity going on, or that you're not enough. Also, people have the fear of charging more or asking for a raise. There are so many ways that people experience money, or they find it evil or dirty or not spiritual, or they don't feel deserving. If you feel a lot of these, I recommend you go back and watch my episode on distorted beliefs about money. It's good to check those out. If you think about the type of experience you have around money, what is the feeling that you get that is unpleasant, that you no longer want anymore? What is that feeling? Again, fear, scarcity, overwhelm, anger, resentment. Notice what that experience is like. Where does it show up in your body? And you may have to go back and rewatch this episode to go through these questions, but where does that feeling show up in your body? First of all, what's the feeling? Where does it show up in your body? And then what are the emotions that go with that experience? Dread, terror, can't breathe, I feel frozen, confusion. And then what thoughts do you say to yourself about yourself or life at these times when you're experiencing these? So clients will tell me they feel anxious about not having enough money for retirement. They'll dread paying their credit card bills, or they aren't certain about how to manage their money. They're afraid to charge more, ask for a raise. So where in your body does that anxiety reside? And I would ask, if you're anxious how? And the next layer of that anxiety, overwhelm, uncertainty, unworthiness, fear, what is it? Whatever that answer is, ask yourself, how so am I unworthy? Or how so do I feel fear? How so am I overwhelmed or uncertain? And if you're afraid of whom or what? Get more granular to the details of your experience. Don't stop at the generalized experience of, oh, I just have fear, I freeze up, or I just have anxiety. Get more granular. Lastly, what words do you say to yourself when you are here? That you'll never be able to do it again? Or I don't know what to do, or I can't figure it out, or it'll never work. I'm just not deserving, I'm not smart enough, there's something wrong with me. What are the things that you say to yourself? Okay, now looking at this deeper experience of money, if you take this experience that you have and some of that information you just got, scan your childhood. Was this physical feeling or these thoughts or these emotions that we just looked at, were they similar to what you experienced in your childhood? If so, knowing what we know about these parts of the brain, your brain is repeating an experience you survived as a child to know that you are still alive. This is your hammer. This is your hammer. So what you survived might be overtly awful, or might have been a more subtle form of disapproval for who you were. Whatever it was, your brain is now needing to recreate that childhood experience to know that you are still alive. I'm going to talk about a client as an example. So I have this client named Claire. She has high anxiety, especially on Sunday nights, about her job in the coming week. Her body and her brain are on high alert, looking for and expecting an attack. As a child, if she didn't keep the house spotless, her parents would berate her emotionally. They would really come at her verbally to where she felt worthless, unloved, and not safe to be herself. And just not safe. Many, many times the outbursts were unexpected, unwarranted, and totally a surprise in their intensity. These outbursts from her parents. So this went on for years, and she is now an adult. She's moved out. She has her own family. She lives far, far away from her parents. She's in her late 50s, yet her brain is still recreating that upset in her life. Specifically, she's afraid of her current boss. She's always looking for signs that her boss will be upset, displeased, or angry with her work. She's looking for any sign to give her warning of what is coming. She has projected her childhood experience onto her boss. She feels like a little kid waiting for the authority figure to annihilate her sense of self because she messed up somehow. She cannot rest. She just can't rest in the fact that her boss never does this to her. She doesn't trust it. This is her critter brain looking for that experience, that hammer to know it's still alive. Yet her conscious brain doesn't want to be treated this way, but her critter brain actually needs it. And since her subconscious cannot get this hit of devastation from her boss, it will do it with money. She rides the roller coaster of money where she has large sums that come in and then only to have them disappear very quickly. She feels some relief consciously when she gets a big sale knowing there will be the large commission check, yet part of her cannot rest in that relief. There's no safety there because as a child, she could not rest in the safety of her home. When things were too good for too long, that's when she feared it was time for an upset from her parents again. That's when that not knowing, but the feeling of impending doom was coming. So this roller coaster of money happens often when you've had a childhood as unpredictable as Claire's. Part of your brain finds the stress of that a sign that you are still alive, and another part finds it very unsettling. So they are in contradiction to each other. They're on opposite teams. And at the top of the roller coaster, when things feel the best, it can set off alarm bells that there's going to be a big upset coming. Things cannot be that calm for too long. So if there is no one around to recreate that annihilation then your system will do it for you. It will send your money away, causing the stress of debt. And on some level, when that stress comes from the money disappearing, your critter brain actually feels relief because it knows that stress means you're alive. And this cycle repeats itself. Now, if it's not money that you send away, it can be relationship or your health or the love and connection in your life. There's a part of the roller coaster where there's a feeling of relief and a bit of safety after the annihilation because it's over. And there'll be a period, even a brief one, before the next annihilation comes. There'll be a brief period of reset before the next annihilation shows up. And sometimes right after the loss, there's a moment when recreating your money that you feel okay. Yet as time goes on, you get tired of having to do this climb again. The effort, the stress, and the exhausting cycle of it all. The good news is it's all revisable. I cannot say this enough. It doesn't have to be this roller coaster of stress, fear, and hurt. You can revise this pattern in the brain. It's like upgrading the software in your computer or downloading an update to your phone. You just revise it. It starts with seeing the patterns of what you are experiencing now in your adulthood that mirrored the experience in your childhood. These are valuable clues that point us to where the source of that pattern is. Knowing the source, we can revise it at its root permanently and have a better experience of money and ourselves. If you've got something from today's show, please share it. There's enough upset in the world. Let's all create a little more joy. If you need more support and you're willing to invest in yourself and your future and you're ready to change your life, go to yourwealthyselfcall.com and book a time with me. And we can explore ways to work together. And I want to help you get the support you're seeking. So let me know what questions you have or topics you'd like us to tackle by emailing me and my team at yourwealthyself@e360livetv.com. I'll pull that up. Oh yeah, here it is. Make sure you tune in next week as we continue to use money as a lens to revise the old beliefs holding you back from having more clarity, freedom, prosperity, self-worth, appreciation, and daily joy, or whatever is most important to you. Because you are enough just as you are to have all that you desire. I love and adore you. You're an incredibly beautiful and precious being. Please know you are enough just as you are.